Welcome to Flow Design Architects, a company that works with you and for you.
Well, we're going to get started kind of right on time, hopefully. I just want to kind of introduce Darguin. You're going to start off a little bit with conversation here and some questions, and then we'll get moving forward. We'll introduce ourselves first. I'm Bruce Mechanic. I'm part of the SFX Board of Directors. I'm a fellow of the American Institute of Architects, and that's the other thing. We want to make sure everyone knows that as a small firm member or small firm owner, you can become a fellow. That's one of the things we're working a little bit harder on. And
I also wanted to introduce somebody who is not here. Janet couldn't make it, unfortunately. She hurt one of her ankles, but she's actually the chair for this year. My name is Darguin Fortuna. I'm one of the principals of Flow Design Architects based out of Salem, Massachusetts, and I'm a board member for the state of Massachusetts. So while we're here, why don't we start knowing who is in the audience, right? Who do we have? Well, you can raise your hands where you're from, and who do we have in here at the audience. This is a great turnout. I know we're all tired and this is the end, but it will be good to know who we have here.
So first of all, how many board members from the SFX do we have here? If you could just raise your hand. So we have a couple board members here, Josh and Dave, so we have board members. How many reps do we have from the from the SFX? Very good.
Excellent. This is the first time we actually see each other in person. And it's not just a little tile like 4x2. So do we have anybody from Massachusetts? That probably, I don't know. Washington? Ohio? Yeah, there you go. We're going to Washington next year. So, it's good that we're all here. We're going to be talking about what SFX is. All of you probably already know that we're the majority of offices are small offices, small firms. And what we're going to show you exactly what SFX is and where we are within the larger picture of the AIA. And Bruce is going to get us started with that.
Right. And
You have it right here.
Yeah. Let's see if I'm on again. Maybe. And maybe not. Matt Clapper is one of our past chairs. He's sitting up here, so just wanted to introduce. But basically, what is a member group? That's what the SFX is. It's AIA. Engages different groups of individuals in terms of what their primary interests are. And those of us who own small firms, who operate small firms, sole proprietors. So basically, a small firm is 1 to 10 people. That's what AI defines it as. And for many of us, that fluctuates when we essentially go from, sometimes it's 9 people, sometimes it's 12 people, sometimes it's 8 people. So we know that firm sizes change, but basically what we work with as an organization is within the AI strategic plan. So we have the strategic plan, board of directors, strategic council, all the different groups. And, we fall underneath here as the member groups. So the second from the bottom group, member groups, there are knowledge communities. We kind of serve a specific group of individuals, and that's all of us that own small firms or operate within small firms. My firm, it was founded in 1960, but I still, after so many years, I have like 12 people right now, so it goes up and down. But a lot of us have been practicing for many, many years, and we are the same size. We're comfortable at that level. And so, it's not like we are an inconsequential group of individuals who work within the AIA. We are a group of people that actually make up 75%. This is the AIA strategic plan. We fall under that. We follow that. And, there's an emphasis on the vision, mission, and obviously the core values. Part of that is what we're concentrating on and working towards serving a specific group of people. So our mission, SFX, it's advance the mutual interests of architects practicing in small firms. So the objectives of the SFX are threefold. Advocate for small firms. You don't have a lot of people out there. You don't have a lot of time to advocate on your own. We're trying to do that for you as best we can. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but one of the things, how are we represented on the AIA Board of Directors? We're working towards that. How can we be better represented? Curating, disseminate. One of the things you don't have time is, and we know that, is you don't have time to go out and do all the research that a large firm does that has a staff of business development, and they have staff of legal, and they have everything. We're wearing 10, 15 hats a day, just trying to get through life. And then inform AIA of current issues, and that's where it falls into of what our concerns are with the small firm issues. AIA, as you know, we have 96,000 members, 97,000 members. We're getting close to 100,000 members within the organization. Small firms make up 75% of that. However, we only make up 16% of the membership. So there's a lot of firms out there, but we don't make a big difference in terms of the numbers. But I think it's important that as a firm and out there in the community across the country, we are probably the most visible group of individuals out there for the AIA. So it's important that our voice is heard in many ways. 75% of the firms, 16% employees, 12% of the billings and profession. So, our sole proprietors are 26%, or almost 27%, 2 to 4 are 33, and then 5 to 9 are 50%. And I'll say one of the other things, if you look at things like the compensation guide, small firms are defined differently in different ways. I think that's 0, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, or whatever individuals. Small firms mean different things to different people. Our main concern here is 1 to 10, 12, 14. We're flexible. No one is excluded from this group. And our interest is always just trying to figure out how we can better represent individuals who own firms, who operate within firms that are small and need more help than what the larger firms can do by themselves. And so that's the reason we exist here, and that's what we're trying to do.
So moving on to another part, how are we made up, right? So we're made up out of executive committee, where we have chair-elect, past chair, and work group leaders. I happen to be one of the leaders of the outreach community. Please go to Instagram and follow AIA SFX on Instagram. We also have other platforms. We also have board members and their seats. And as you probably have noticed, everything has moved into state representatives instead of regional representatives. So we have state representatives, and if you want to know how to become involved, there's always an email that gets put out within your local chapter, and just apply and engage. At some point I was asked to try to look for people within my state and other states around me to get involved, and I called one of my friends and said, we want to be part of SFX. We meet with a bunch of great minds that suffer the same struggles we all do, and probably have solutions, maybe not, and we can learn from each other. And they said no, and I said, why not? This is it's really a tremendous group of individuals that you become very close with. And the board members serve for about 3 years. Is that correct still? Yeah. I'm on my 2nd year. And the state representative are for about a year. Every year we have a different one. These are the faces that we have. We get together once a year. This year we got together here, which is pretty great. And last year we were in San Diego. These are the members of the group, the board members, and again, really amazing, talented individuals from each state that gets to speak up as to the things that concern them, the things that keep them up at night, and we get to brainstorm and work together. We meet, by the way, this is the different states that have
The gray have representatives in, and the yellow do not have representatives. So we're trying to build. Last year, we just expanded to this. We were just a board of directors prior to that, where we now have a group of board of directors. Certain states are always represented, certain ones are not on the board, but every state gets a representative.
So if you are part of one of those yellow ones, please reach out, because we would like to hear from you. So what are the topics? We go through a very robust variety of topics, from economic uncertainty, business planning, ownership transition, cash flow, marketing, Lately, too, we've been focused on the 2030 commitment and how can we apply the framework for design excellence, and how can we even get awards to, which we understand is very difficult for small practices to apply and get all that stuff together. But we can do that, and within all of these topics, we walk out with so much knowledge. I mean, sometimes I'm exhausted out of running a practice and having 15 hats, but I always walk out of the sessions knowing why I am a part. I probably wonder, why am I doing this? And then I walk out, I know why. This is very necessary so that we can remain relevant within where we are. So the chair gets to pick some of the topics that we focus on the most. And during this time, we've been focusing a lot on equity, diversity, and inclusion. As I mentioned, we have different work groups. Outreach, it puts out all of the information. We don't necessarily create information. There's just a lot of content that you don't know exists, and we want to make it to you. And then there's a group that's conference that organizes events like this and makes this possible. And advocacy too. Actually, Dana's not here, but she's gonna be, I believe it's the chair next year. So Dana is a part of conference, and we have an all call. We all get together within those times and talk about, and all of the state representatives and the board members, and talk about different topics that we get to pick.
And as part of that, we work with other organizations who reach out and say, how do we relate to the YAF? How do we relate to the College of Fellows? How can we get people from small firms to actually be members of the College of Fellows? So part of, because we don't know members of the college if you're a small firm half the time, and part of this is to try to create some connection to that. So it's one of those things where what we try to do is provide information and bring it to you. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for if you don't get it now, and it's a way for you to get more information than what you would have through your local connections or whatever.
So a lot of people also ask me, like, what's the commitment? How much time do I have to spend? And if any of you wants to know more about that, I just interviewed David yesterday, and we were talking about the amount of time that he spends. It's really not that much. It's not really gonna break you and you'll be like, oh, I'm wasting a lot of time and energy. But there's a video that we're gonna put out soon on that. And what's the commitment? Well, the commitment is there's some meetings that we do, right? Every other Thursday, I believe it is. We have an all call, and we connect during that. And we have all this, like I said, all these groups. There are things that each group focuses on, and it all edifies and builds upon each other. But at the end of the day, we just want to really share all these resources that we have. Business plan templates. Also, how to create a small firm exchange local group. We have an entire presentation into how to do that so that you can have your own one within your local component. There may be one that you don't know about, and if there isn't, you may be the first one that starts it. And all of this, again, connects to the bigger picture, right? All of the problems that we all deal with, the 2030 commitment, the framework for design excellence, and we've seen some small practices applying it within their processes. It's not just a thing of the bigger firms. We are actually the majority of the firms, so we actually get to make the biggest impact within our communities, believe it or not. We can probably call neighborhoods our own versus a bigger firm that will probably just do one building a year, right? So that's really good. So please connect, right? This is our QR code. Join the SFX, apply, and now I guess I leave it open to all of us.
So one of the things, the reason we're kind of reaching out to everyone is a lot of people don't know what the SFX is and why we're here, or if we're here at all. And you can find out more. I think it's AIA.org/SFX. And our focus is really, you don't have the time to do all the research, and what we try to do is bring all the information together. And if you can reach out to us, then you at least have some resources available. And we're trying to build upon that. As a small board that we were a few years ago, we didn't have the number of people available to spread that information. Now, as we develop this representative system, we have at least one person in each state. And I'm from Ohio, and our effort is we're actually building a state organization there, that we have our rep who is now building that, putting that together. We will be having a conference later this year. We'll be having a coffee that's there. We actually will be having calls every other month with the state reps, so the small firms can join in. The other part of the information we don't have is we don't know how many small firms or where they are. AIA does not really collect that data for us. So we know there's 75% of the firms are small, but who are they? And so what we're looking to do is spread that information, get that information so that we can get those emails out there, find out who you are and what we can do for you. So that's part of what we're looking for this section, is to get the information that you need from us as a member organization, and find out what we can do for you. There are resources out there from the AIA Trust that can be very valuable for small firms. There's information that we have that we can provide to you that we have collected over year. The same questions come up year after year after year.
So that said, Bruce, I think we have an interesting opportunity right here to even experiment.
Right.
Any questions you may have, there's a microphone there. I hope it's working. And we get to see, and I can pass my own microphone, it's okay. We get to see a lot within these meetings. We get to hear a lot of voices. You may have questions about how to get involved. You may have questions about what things do we experience and what things have we heard. And I guess firsthand hear from us, humbly, what we deal with and what we hear and how we raise it all the way to the national level. So any of you have any questions, we can open it as a conversation. Or any of the board members and reps also, if they want to give a testimony as to what they have gained through this process, I think it will be ideal for all of us so that we can amplify these voices.
Right, and one thing, I've served in AIA many different ways, but like I said, I've been part of the small firm exchange. I've served as the National Board of Directors, I've served on the Strategic Council, I've been National Secretary, so I know the inner workings of what AIA does, and small firm members can be engaged within the AIA, and that's one of the things we want to get across to everyone. It's very important for us to be part of what AIA is doing. We just want to find out how we can help you better as small firm owners or representatives for us to actually work within the organization, because we want to make small firms really have get a benefit from AIA membership. I think that's really important. And a lot of people believe that AIA is geared towards large firms. That's not necessarily true, but they have more resources than we do as small firms to make that happen. So what we're trying to do is find out what your concerns are, what your issues are, what you need from us, and how we can help you. One of the things we've done is we've reached out to the liaison at the National Board of Directors on what they're looking for representation on the national board again, how we can do that, how we can bring members forward to actually represent you as small firm owners on the board of directors too. So it's an ongoing process. We have these programs we put together. We want to know what you need from us. So it's one of those things. We have the microphones here. We'd love to hear from you as part of this program. What can we do for you to help you? What do you need? What information don't you think is available through the AIA, and how can we make that work for you? So please feel free to come up to the microphone. I'll step down and give you a microphone if you'd like, but we want to really hear from you. It's really important as part of the member voice and what's going on within the organization.
Hello, hi, I'm Leah. I'm a sole proprietor. I'm in Boise, Idaho. I happen to be the president of our local chapter. My state rep is right here. I contact him, I get information on some of the topics that you guys have discussed. I meet monthly with small firms in the Boise area. We have a coffee hour. We use that list that you have. But one of the things we are concerned about is the cost of conferences and AIA fees when we're paying them as individuals. We don't have somebody else paying those for us. What can we do? Can we get a sliding scale? Can we?
Well, I will tell you, I was at the business meeting, I was at the caucuses, and I can't tell you how many times that came up this week. Not just big firms, not just medium-sized firms, not large. Everyone has been complaining about the cost of what it is to attend a conference like this. So I know that leadership will be looking at that in the very near future. I think that's almost kind of a dictate that they're going to have to address. What they will do about it, I don't know, but that voice has been concerned, expressed time and time again. So we understand, we hear that, and we will continue to press that forward with AIA leadership. Trust me. Especially when you have to fly across the country if you're an East Coast firm, and you fly all the way here, it's $800 here, it's $2,200 for a hotel room, it's $800 for registration. You're easily in the $5,000, just with meals and everything like that. It's not acceptable. It's not, equitable. It's not. You're not getting diverse groups. There's a lot of things that we need to do as an organization to do that. And that did not just come from small firms. That came from a big group of people. So thank you. That's a great point. Thank you.
I would just hammer that in more. But not only is it the cost, just the time away from your office. I represent 50% of my office, and I'm here for a whole week, but it's also kind of the credibility of the AIA. I'm on a wonderful Slack group with other sole proprietors, small business owners who just started their firm. They're all like 30 to 45 years old or something, and they're like, see, case in point, look at this AIA conference. How they don't even see us. Like, they do not feel seen. And then I don't mean to hammer, but it's really a kind of a big deal. It's going to affect your membership over time. But I'll set that aside for the moment. But I just want to know, I've had a small business for several years now, and I just joined the AIA. I'm not even aware about what SFX does. Do you have a blog? How do I even access your resources? How would just a sole proprietor like me interface and get value out of this?
We have a newsletter that we put out that we actually have expanded quite a bit this year. Haley is our board member who is out of San Diego, who has been leading that position this year, and we work really hard to try to inform small firm members who that is. I think it's aia.org/FX, I believe, is the way you can reach out to us. You can get on our email list for that newsletter, and that begins to inform you, and then we can build a connection. The more information we get from you as members, the more we can take that to the board. I'm not shy. I can talk to pretty much anyone anytime. I've served on the board, so we can reach out. We can represent small firms. It's just small firms have not been well represented in the past. And, like I said, we make up a small percentage of the membership, but a large percent of the people who are out there that the public sees every day. In most of our communities, we don't have large firms. We don't even have medium-sized firms. We have our size firms, our small firms out there. And that's what the public sees. And we need to be, better represented as an organization out there and what architecture is about. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take what you do every day and make that better known to the public, because people don't realize what we do as architects, and hopefully that's what we can take forward.
So also, we're working really hard now with Dana. We're trying to launch a little series of clips speaking about what we do as FX and who we are as individuals, and also the value that we bring into our communities for the for advocacy at the end of the day, right? Ultimately for that. So we're working hard to bridge those gaps and connect with everybody. And again, this is my second year involved, so I'm also struggling with the same ideas and same problems that you have. I didn't know about SFX either. I didn't know how, what they were doing. And now I know more. Darguin Fortuna, you can find me anywhere and I will respond. That's a good connection right there with the SFX. So, and I will connect with you right away, and I'll do a Zoom call. I just got some members of the SFX that, because I won the People's Choice Award for the Film Challenge last year, they were like, how do you do that? Small practice winning such an award. And I thank Edwin de la Cruz, who is the guy behind all the production of that. But even doing that connection and reaching out to us directly will make it happen. It has to be easier. We're working on that.
And I think one of the other things we have to do is how do we connect with others? Let people know how our success stories are. My firm, like I said, has been in business for 107 years. And I've been around for 30% of that, 33% of that. And one of the things that we found out is collaboration is great with large firms. That's half of our business is collaboration. Moody and Nolan, gold medal firm, they come to us and say, hey, we'd like to partner with you. And it's part of the thing of the relationship building. That's what we can do to expand how small firms expand and build upon what we're doing, but I can still say small. I can still be 12 people. And so we're looking to actually share information about how people are working their firms, using their firms. As a matter of fact, there are, I believe, 3 of us from the Small Firm Exchange, plus one other individual who are presenting at the NOMA conference on how we actually are doing business development in a different way. So that's in October, I believe, up in Portland. So, we're trying to reach out as far as we can and explain how we're doing things as different firms. And I think sharing information is really an important part of that. So.
Could I have run, maybe respond in a very tangible way to her question? So I'm Elizabeth Emerson, I'm with Bone Studio. I'm an SFX member at C, a colleague of mine, Rick Schneider. If you join your local SFX chapter, kind of like your Slack group, we have a really active SFX committee in DC. We do a lot of knowledge share, resource sharing. We have a pretty active event series. And so at a local level, it gives us as a group of practitioners some of the knowledge shared resources that our large firm colleagues have. So like I got a civil engineering consultant recommendation from Rick, and he reached out to him, we're going to do a project with him. So it's very, at least in my experience, very tangible and very local, and it has been a huge asset. And I think our content's really good for our events.
And our chair, Jana Bloomberg, is from Washington, D.C. So, yeah, so she's there. The one thing we don't really have a lot of information on right now, although we're trying to build that, is we don't know where there are SFX groups at. Because some states actually create them and don't kind of inform us. So we're trying to build that network. So, yes, and if you're interested in building something, there's actually, we have a toolbox kind of available on how you can actually create a local SFX group. Yeah.
Hi, thanks a lot. I have a couple things. Barbara Campagna, I'm a preservation architect in Buffalo, New York, currently a solopreneur, which is what we're calling ourselves these days. I've had this business for 12 years. I've been partners in large AEs, and I collaborate a lot like you with large AEs around the country. Although I'm one person, I do have projects all over the country, which is exhausting. I'm also a fellow like you. So yes, small business owners can be fellows. Happy to help people figure it out. So a couple of things. One is I've been a member for 30 years of the AIA, had no idea about the small business exchange, small firm exchange. Found out this year, my colleague Roxanne, who I'm here with, and another friend of ours, Tom Lawrence, who's the Washington State rep, just a longtime good friend. I have a big mouth, so I've always been yelling up and down and screaming about the challenges of the small business, especially I do mostly public work, so I have all kinds of issues with federal agencies and local and state agencies. But one of the things we noticed, so small business, 10 to 1, there's a big difference between your firm of 10 or 12 and mine of 1, and I sort of consider myself a vision architect. But we have a lot of the same stuff, but a lot of the stuff that's very different. So we actually had a panel, we put together a panel Thursday that was focused on solopreneurs. It was called Resilience for Solopreneurs. We had about 40 or 50 people. Pretty much everyone was a sole proprietor, solopreneur. And we all just wanted to talk to each other and have discussion. So we're trying to put together sort of a collective of sole proprietors to have our own discussion. And so we certainly want to work with you. We have Tom already as a rep, so that we can all have a voice that's appropriate for ourselves. And we have no idea. We don't think there's anything in New York State. We have no idea how you can find anything. There's not anything local. We put together an ad hoc discussion of friends who complain about being small business.
Yeah, and that is part of the problem across the country, that a lot of people just don't know what organizations exist. Sometimes they're outside of the network of AIA. That's just a bunch of small firms getting together.
Well, the other thing I wanted to add is, as part of our session, primarily Roxanne put together this really fantastic resource list. It's over 6 pages of different organizations, starting with AIA, but then going through all kinds of national and local laws and everything. And we would be happy to share that, because I think I learned so much to start.
And that's how the newsletter even gets fed, right? I don't know everything that's happening everywhere. So if you share, that would be great. By the way, Vanessa happens to be from New York, and she still sticks around with us, which means that we're doing something great. She was part of the outreach last year.
You must like us.
Yeah, she likes us.
I actually wanted to comment on that. So, AIA New York State president next year is Willie Zambrano, and he is a small firm owner. So I'm actually really excited for the potential. One of the things that we have in New York is there's like 50 different things, and so having another committee is just like it's a lot of time and labor. But the idea of a small firm exchange, right, of an exchange, is being able to sort of share knowledge is really important. So in New York, we are actively looking at it. But I would say, so I started my own practice when I was at Chuki, from New York, but COVID transplant to New Jersey, learning New Jersey. Now, I started my own practice. I'm sort of have it on pause at this moment. And part of what I am interested in helping with on SFX is that not all small firms are doing like capital A architecture or brick and mortar architecture. And so I want to be working more in the community-based design projects. And so some of the conversations are a little bit different. But I have colleagues, in New York, a lot of people are going out on their own out of necessity. And they're doing technology, they're doing consulting, they're doing lots of different things. So I think that us as a collective have to acknowledge that architecture firms are just one type of thing that architects are and how they're practicing. So I would encourage you to sort of diversify that representation as well.
Yeah.
Well, I commend you for, by the way, because if doing the common and ordinary that we're taught to do is hard as a small practice, imagine doing what's not within the common and ordinary. So that, good job, Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Marcia. I'm the owner of Sustainable AF. I started last year. One thing that you guys are asking, how can you help small firms? I feel like with a lot of small firms, the beginning is very tough because we don't get leads very easily. There's a lot of people say, oh, we get leads from word of mouth, but if you don't have mouth to word, then you can't get started. Everybody, not everybody, I'm sure everybody, a lot of people here have used NG Leads and like Thumbtack, and maybe the AIA could be a resource to provide that search engine for people, just the general public, to search small firms in their area without having to pay like $300 a month for leads that are actually not good.
Yeah, that's a good comment. This was great, by the way. We're loving these comments. This is very, very helpful, so thank you.
My name is Yolanda Hatcher. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I started my firm in 2002 as a sole practitioner set up as an LLC. I worked for firms for at least 15 years before I started my firm. And what motivated